Hello folks, Jerry and welcome back to RacingGamerSlovenia, and today we will be doing something different. Now, in the past I did make some top lists of best cards in the RacingGamerSlovenia, but that really required a whole lot of scripting and editing, and seeing how, Airshell pretty much breaks every single time I make a cut. I will be doing this in one take, or I'll attempt to anyway. So here I have prepared a list of my favorite 7 cars that are R2 class, and you can pink slip them in the RacingGamerSlovenia. And well, pretty much I have the info on how to drive them, and I have some other features of the cars as well, so we're gonna go over this now. My number 7 is actually this, the M Performance M4 Racing. I'm just gonna call it the M4 Racing, and what's interesting about this car in particular is that there's 2 different versions of it. For example, you have the, as you guys can see, the W there, that stands for white, and you have the B here, which stands for black, which is, pretty fucking obvious. But pretty much, I think that the white one is actually rarer because it was available at the end of the event rather than the beginning, which both of these cars were available October last year in the BMW event, so there is that. Now, they're still surprisingly used quite a bit, but you'll definitely see more black ones than you will white ones. So we're gonna go in a lobby, and I'll attempt to race, even though there is a slight delay when I'm recording, so I'll probably have like fucking 20 fouls, but we do get into a bot lobby, which is a start. Now the release for this car in particular is before first light, which is tricky sometimes, but whatever. The first gear is late after that at 8300 RPM. As you guys can see, it does rev quite slow. There you go. Now, I will be getting shitty reaction times here just because I do not want to mess up all of this in one take. But actually, this is the only card in which I forgot to check the world records, so just let me do that real quick. Collective records. The world record for this car is a 6.698, which is actually pretty fast. I never got a 6.6 with this car, likely never will, just because it's not completely my style, but you guys get the idea of what it's like to drive, and it's definitely not bad at all. I should probably point out that this is in fact the only BMW on my favorite list, just because, well, the M3 is not here, as I don't really like them, plus they're notorious for being used by light laggers, which, like, I've never raced an M3 GT3, versus an M3 GT3 which wasn't a light lagger, which then terribly lost the race, at least I don't recall. So, there is that. Now, my 6th favorite R2 class car to pink slip is the Ford GT.R, and there are a couple of different versions of this. You do have the WWE one, which is slightly lighter than the normal for GT.R. As you guys can see, there's a couple of different wraps, and you also have the GT40 wrap, which is the same weight as a normal one, which was available in gold crates, but whatever. I'll just get to this car in particular. This is probably the cheapest car on this list. I picked this one up for a really good deal, 2.5 bucks per piece, which, yeah, that was a steal. I took like 2 of them. But the world record for this car is just slightly slower than the other cars on this list, at 6.706 for the WWE version, which I'm currently in, and 6.716 for the normal version, so that's a bit slower, but doesn't exactly matter a whole lot. Now, the release for this car is as soon as the second light comes on, just slightly, it is a bit tricky, I guess. There you go. And the first gear is surprisingly slow for this. You will shift at, I think, 6900. At 7k, it does, there is the rev limiter, and you do have to watch out for that. It's not bad at all. You can get pretty consistent with it, and seeing how it is the cheapest car on this list, it's not, a bad base to go on. You can definitely, I did want quite a few cars with this when I pink slipped before the 6.0 update. I'm not sure what time I got that, but it was okay. I did state the world record, so there is that. After that, we're probably gonna, we're gonna go on probably one of the tougher cars to race on this list, which is, let me find it. It is repairing here, I'll just, wait it out. But it is the Renault RS01. And this is a bit of a wild card just because not a whole lot of people use them, but these are super valuable to pink. You probably shouldn't if you don't know what you're doing. I of course lost one a few days ago, but whatever. This is actually really useful for turf baiting because this, I mean, people in turf cards will pink slip you, you know, such as the cards such as the RX-7 Rivals Edition and the RX-8 and all that. But the first gear is quite fast in this car, so there is that, but it really can be great if you get used to it. The world record for this car is quite fast at 6.641. I'm not sure if that requires go shifting, but I really never got it into 6.6s, so you know, that's just because I'm a noob very likely. We are not in the bot lobby anymore, but we will race someone who's not likely to race pinks on us. There you go. There is obviously a whole lot of other R2 class cards, you know. As I've said, the M3G2 is not on this list because I don't exactly like it. So here are the cards which I would personally recommend. Raises to 500, hell yeah dude, I'm gonna take that. There you go. So the release for this is pretty much same as the Force GT-R. Let's see. Okay, we did miss that, but whatever. Holy shit, that should not be a perfect reaction time. I'm just gonna roll with this. As you guys can see, I did mess up there, so the time will be a bit slower, but it is actually, it's just late, just a bit later after the 4 GT-R. And the first gear is late at 8000 RPM, and after that you are supposed to shift at 7500 RPM. Thank you to Pigpen obviously for all you know, these information. There you go. So I'll obviously just do one run per car because, you know, for the sake of the length of this video. Now, my number 4 favorite car to pink slip in R2 class is, what is it? It's gonna be here somewhere. I probably, you know, could have prepared this better, but it is the CZ.R Corvette. And this is a car which I really have not used much for a long time. But it is, well, it used to be quite common, not as much anymore, but it still is. And, you know, this is one of the gem cars that you can buy from the showroom. Not sure if it's more expensive than the NISMO, which we will be seeing quite soon, you know, spoilers. The world record for this is a 6.662, and the launch actually isn't too bad, it's quite consistent. There you go, we're gonna race the car, which might actually race, you know, pinks, but whatever. As I've said, the black version of the M4 is, you know, quite a bit more common than the white one, but the difference in value, there's not really a whole lot of it, so let's see what he wants to do. If not, we're probably just gonna race a K1. I do not want to actually lose any cars here, so I probably could have scripted this better, but there's no way in hell that I would be able to edit it without glitches, so I'm just doing it, you know, in one take. For the sake of the video, and also for the sake of, you know, me not having to edit for hours. The VRT does race us. Thank you for that. Really is appreciated. Now the release is same as the SRT Viper, which means early to mid for the slide. There you go. Okay, I messed up the first gear completely. But the first gear is shifted at 7300 RPM, and after that you are supposed to shift at 6800 RPM, and you can get surprisingly consistent with this car. I completely messed up the first gear there, so I am sorry, but there's not a whole lot, you know, I cannot re-edit this because it's just gonna fuck up the entire recording. As you guys can see, 6.8, but with a very shitty first gear. Oh well. Okay. We're gonna go back, obviously. We're gonna repair the car, and then we are on to the top 3. Now, the number 3 is really not gonna surprise anyone, because after the M3G2, this is probably the most used car to pink slip. Of course, it is the NISMO GT. I actually have one with first place rims, which I got today. Not this one either. I think I have a bunch. What is it? I think it's this one. Hell yeah, so this actually has the Mazda RX-7 spec first place rims, which I didn't, you know, I didn't actually know that this car has first place rims when I got it, but, you know, it has them, so I'm gonna be using this car for this showcase. So I'm also running out of boost there, which I just noticed. I'm gonna go ahead and buy some. I'll have to top myself up on gems really soon, but whatever. Now the main point of this car is, well, I mean asset, is that you cannot get traction loss, and even if you mess up the launch, which is quite precise on this car, you can still get some kick-ass runs. If you do get, actually, even if you don't get the perfect launch, this car is still, the first gear is still pretty difficult to nail, so that's the reason why a lot of these are lost. But it is one of the more common cars to see in lobbies trying to pink slip. The world record is a 6.661. So there is that. These cars are also used quite a bit by light laggers, but not as much as the M3G2 there. Not saying that everyone who uses these cars light lags, but there's a whole lot of them that do. So just keep that in mind. There you go. Okay, I'm messing up the gears here, but whatever. There you go. It's not a horrible time. I did forget to tell you guys how to launch. The release is early second light, not as soon as the second light comes on. It is just a bit after that, so keep that in mind. All shifts are late at 7200 RPM. And it's really not a bad car to drive at all. That's why, you know, it's on my best list here. There you go. Okay, now top 2, and yeah, the top 2 results here are really not gonna surprise anyone who has been watching my videos for a while, but it might be surprising that at number 2 we do have the Bentley Continental G3, which has been pretty much my favorite car to pink slip in R2 class for a long time before something else came along. But yeah, this car is just flat out awesome, and this one is, you know, the tune is just a bit off. It's not gonna, you know, damage the run that we're gonna have too much. So there you go. The world record is a 6.689, so not as fast as, let's say, the C7R or the NISMO, but it is way more consistent, and I do love the launch on this car. So I'm not sure if this is the person who ran us before, but we're gonna, you know, try our luck. Anyway, the first gear is quite quick, so you should probably get some practice before pink slipping this, but you know, still, you should probably, you know, get a lot of practice before you pink slip an R2 class car, no matter which one you pink slip. So let's see. Okay, I fucked that up so bad. The first gear was horrible there, but still, the time is really bad because of the first gear. But the release is pretty much the Evo launch as soon as the second light comes on, and all your shifts are at 7000 RPM. I think I completely messed up the first gear. That is quite quick. You should watch out for that, same as, you know, on the NISMO G3 and the Alpine, as I've said. But now we do have my favorite R2 class car to pink slip, which it's even on the icon there. It is, come on, you know, killing the suspense here, even though there's not any suspense whatsoever, because you guys very likely know what it is, and it is, what the fuck is it? It's, oh, great, I fucking lost it. RIP suspense, but there you go. As you guys can see, the 2017 Ford GT, a car which hasn't been in the game for a long time, but it's just flat out awesome. This car is so consistent, it is just fucking amazing. And the world record is only a 6.692, but the way this car drives is just phenomenal. And even if you are new to the game, you get to a maxed one, you shouldn't have a whole lot of trouble actually racing it. So there is that. Now we do get into a bot lobby, which is awesome. Now the release on this car is early first light, and all your shifts are late at 8000 RPM. It really does not get much easier than this. Let me demonstrate. Would be quite sad if I fucked up the final run. Okay, fuck, I forgot. The first gear is super easy, but it is quite misleading because it is super slow. So as you guys can see, that messed up the run here. But yeah, this guy is a pink slip magnet, and people, you know, in Bentley G3s, NISMOs, pretty much every single car I listed on here will want to pink slip you, because this car, it used to be super expensive, but now the prices have finally dropped. I do get cars like this for $7, even though it is quite considerably more expensive than the other ones, but it is just worth it because this car is phenomenal. So yeah, this is pretty much my favorite way to launch a car now. It's not as soon as this first light comes on, but it is just after that, and you truly cannot mess this up completely. Okay, now I held it for too long, whatever. It is the 6.0 effect, I'm just gonna call it that. But yeah, this car is freaking amazing. So I'll also add info about, you know, how to drive the car when we go over the car. So I think I can add text without messing up the whole recording. So yeah, there you go. Now I will give some honorable mentions to cars which I didn't list on here, but are still, you know, cards that you could prank slip in R2 class, but I'm not a huge fan of them. Let's see, let's go over here. You do have the GT.R Limited, which is pretty awesome, but it's probably a bit too expensive for you to prank slip, seeing how it is, you know, exactly as fast as a normal for a GT.R, except, you know, it's worth way more. The P1, not exactly great. Also, I did skip any turf cards for here, with the exception of the, you know, fucking for a GT.R, but there is non-turf versions of that. The BMW Z4 for being, you know, is gonna get an honorable mention for being pretty much the worst fucking R2 class car in the game. It's slow, it's undrivable, it is just horrendous. Anything else? I think I do have one more that I'm gonna mention, which is the Dime Racing MG G3. This is the fastest R2 class car, but it does use a mixed drop launch. If you don't get a whole lot of practice with this, you will not be able to master it because it is super tough to drive and it's definitely not meant for people like me. But it is still worth quite a bit, so, you know, that's the thing to keep in mind. So there you go, guys. If you guys want more lists like this, please let me know. I did actually surprisingly not fuck up a whole lot during this video, so that's quite nice. Anyways, Ford GT, my favorite R2 class car, period. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.